If you are a frequent listener to the podcast, you know that we have been sponsored by Fuji Sports for quite some time now. Whether you're looking for apparel, equipment, bags, or accessories, Fuji Sports has got it covered. Go to fujisports.com to see the latest selection of everything you need for your jiu-jitsu, judo, or MMA journey. That's fujisports.com. Let me take a minute to tell you about RŌL TV. If you're looking to take your jiu-jitsu to the next level and supplement your BJJ education, then RŌL TV has you covered. RŌLAcademy.tv has over 1,500 videos covering individual techniques, positions, and concepts, including seminars and workshops with top-level competitors and instructors like Chris Wojcik, Robert Drysdale, Aaron Hurley, Emily Kwok, and more. Whether you are a beginner or a more advanced student, RŌL TV is the online platform that can take your jiu-jitsu to the next level. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other buttons there are, and leave us a review wherever you listen. This helps us bring you the great guests and amazing content that you've come to expect. On this episode, Randy Williams shares his journey through the world of jiu-jitsu, reflecting on the personal significance of the flags in his life, the evolution of training methods, and the importance of creating welcoming environments for newcomers. Randy discusses his teaching philosophy that focuses on maximizing training time and ensuring students understand the core principles of jiu-jitsu. Also in this conversation, Randy and Thomas explore the evolution of jiu-jitsu while emphasizing the importance of fundamentals. Here's the RŌL Radio with second-degree black belt, Randy Williams.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we are live. Randy, how are you? Good to have you on the show. How is everything going?
I am fantastic. Everything really can't get much better, just enjoying time.
Before we jumped on, I learned that you are a very sentimental person. It often doesn't appear that way when we train martial arts and we are in the fighting business, if you will, and there's always a conflict resolution constantly.
Yeah,
right?
There is.
And for those who watch it as on YouTube, they'll see a bunch of flags behind you, and there's a lot of meaning behind those, right?
Yeah, all my flags have meaning. I even have ones that aren't up right now just because I haven't found the perfect spot to see them all the time.
Walk me through it. So you told me that already, but we were not recording at that time. You have Brazilian flag right, left off you.
So the Brazil flag, yes, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but this isn't just a random Brazil flag. This is the flag that was at the very first gym I trained at, and we moved locations, and then that flag was in a box, and I was like, hey, can I have that? And then the gym eventually closed because we were just too nice. We didn't care if people paid. We just wanted to fucking train, And so, gyms closed, they open, the cycle continues. The Gravedigger flag, my toddler is obsessed with Gravedigger right now and skeletons, so we had to put that up for him. And that is my flag, like my gym when I had my own. It's scavenger jiu-jitsu. It's a hyena. That's the animal I was given by my professor. My United States flag, which is over here, of course, because I'm American, first and foremost. And on my other wall, I have two flags, one for my wife, she's Spanish, and one for me because I'm Scottish, so I have those flags. And in the middle, I have a banner I didn't mention earlier that says, comfort is a slow death, prefer pain. It's one of the fuel hunt things. It was the first thing of theirs I've seen. And the moment I saw it, it was, my life is better now. And that's just that's the whole story in itself.
So this sounds like a toxic mix, if you will. Latin, Irish, Brazilian, in America. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, so it's Scottish, not Irish.
Oh, okay, Scottish.
I thought I was
my
Irish
apologies.
Too. Again, another whole story we can get into, which is hilarious. But my wife is she's a military officer. She actually just got Major Select, like she just got promoted. which is awesome because that's a pay raise, right? And I can keep being a stay-at-home parent. But she's the most calm Latina chick ever. She never gets mad. She's super chill. She just hangs out, does her job. She's deployed at the moment, which is another reason I have a ton of free time to train. But yeah, she's super easy, mellow. I'm the chaotic one.
Are you? Are you the
Oh, dude,
chaotic
I'm
one?
everywhere. Dude, I thrive with stress. I have to keep moving. Like even sitting here, I bounce my legs. The last podcast I was on, he had to keep telling me to stop fucking moving.
Well, we'll keep moving this conversation just to make sure that it all's going well. But it seems like your life is very interesting. One, you have this very passionate life of leading and sharing jiu-jitsu. And right before we got on the show on the air, you said that you had a visitor last night and you stayed on the mats for literally hours just having conversations with people.
Yeah.
And completely embracing into this life. Many would consider this too much. Many would consider this, hey, I want to go home. I want to get out of there. How you feel this?
How do I feel about that particular instance? Like people who want to leave?
Yeah.
It took me a long time. And this started, let me go back a step. When I was in high school, I started jiu-jitsu, but I was also an All-American lacrosse player. And I put my entire soul in everything I do to a point I would get upset when people didn't do what I did. And that's just not fair. As I got older, I realized you can love jiu-jitsu for different reasons. You can come here for fun. You can come here for camaraderie, just to get some exercise. All those things are cool now. Like I understand life a little bit better now. But for a long time, I couldn't handle people who didn't love things as much as I did if we were in the same space. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when we would lose a game when I played lacrosse, I didn't understand how people could be on the bus ride home laughing and having a good time. We just got our ass kicked, dude. Like, how are you happy right now? And it took a long time to grow out of that.
Why do you think that was so difficult for you?
I'm not entirely sure. Like, I don't think my childhood was that hard, but others think it was. I grew up in foster care and I grew up with pretty much nothing. I'm very basic. You say my life's interesting, but I think I just lift weights and train jiu-jitsu, man. But now I guess it's boring. The way I grew up was bouncing around and I didn't really know what else to do with myself. I needed a constant, I guess. And sports was that constant for me. I played sports all growing up. It was my escape. And I don't really know what else more to say about that particular setting.
Yeah, but I'm also like think about it. Like where's this passion coming from? Like why are you losing a game or you losing a match, whatever it is? Many people would say, well, screw this, it's over. Let's have fun now. Like let's move on from this. And it seems like that's important to you. It's important that the feeling, that emotional attachment to it is like, well, we can't move on. We just got our ass handed it.
Yeah,
like
we gotta get better.
We should talk about this. Like,
yeah, we gotta figure it the fuck out, man. And I was a goalie too, which did not help my stress. Like I was a goalie in soccer and lacrosse on a team that sucked ass, dude. Like we were bad, but I was really good, so I looked even better because I would get so many shots on goal. I would like end the day with like 40 saves a game in both sports too, not just lacrosse. Like soccer, we would lose 2-1, but when they would have our backup in, we'd lose like 13-0. It was nuts how many saves I got because our team was so bad and I worked so hard. And it stressed me out. My mistakes showed up on the scoreboard. Like if I made a mistake, if I got scored on, that showed up. Everyone could see my mistakes, but no one saw everyone else's. And that, at the time, really messed with me.
Did you feel the same way about jiu-jitsu in a sense of, some people are very casual about it and they just want to come and sit on the mat and bullshit essentially, and others are very hard workers and there was obviously results will be very different for each of them. But you just mentioned that not everybody is in jiu-jitsu for the same purpose. Has that bothered you at the beginning?
Very much. But with that said, you started, I don't know how long ago, you're a third degree. I'm sure you have 20 years in almost. I've been doing this since I was 17. I was the youngest guy on the mat. by far back then. In 2009,
Yeah.
like it wasn't like as underground as probably when you did, but nobody knew what jiu-jitsu was when I was in
Mhm.
high school. It wasn't, people knew what the UFC was a little bit. It wasn't even that popular. And everyone worked hard back then. Everyone wanted to get better. It was like this crazy addiction everyone had who did it because it was such a school of hard knocks. If you couldn't deal with getting smothered or beat up, there was no just jujitsu. It was always MMA back then. And so
Yeah.
everyone worked hard. Now, or when I was like a new black belt and I was really into the teaching aspect a little more, to on hobbyist end, like I taught on Air Force bases, so everyone worked hard when I was a purple brown belt. But black belt, I started teaching in gyms and more publicly, and I just really struggled with hobbyists. It took me a while to be nice to them. Honestly, I would just beat their ass, and I was already financially stable, so I didn't care if people stayed at my gym or not. I wanted people who wanted to work hard. So now I'm a lot nicer about it. Again, I'm next to an Air Force base, but even those guys aren't as hardworking. They do this for fun. They're here for school. They just want some release or something to do. And now I understand. I get it. I also have children now that are older and I'd much rather play with than get my ass kicked and be sore the next day. So I get it a little bit more now that I'm getting a little older.
Why do you think? Why do you think that shift in jiu-jitsu has taken place over the last 20 years? And I mean, I remember when I was starting, there was like survival of the fittest. Either you
Yeah,
survive or you went home. Like there was no, like, if you can't hang with us, then you shouldn't be here. I mean, literally, that was the message that was
it
sent to
was.
everybody. And granted, there was only 10 guys in the room, and they beat the crap out of each other. And if there was a new guy coming in, we beat the crap out of him. And it was what it was. Today, life is very different. The jiu-jitsu community is very different. It's more of a, we are connecting. We are here to hang out. We are here to, kind of chill back. And while we're doing that, we'll do some jiu-jitsu. Uh, that's a big shift
It is.
in the jiu-jitsu community.
So I was thinking about this earlier. I even made a post about it earlier, I believe, on my story. But the biggest thing for retention is like accepting people, right? Like making them feel welcome.
Mm-hmm.
That it doesn't matter if you beat their ass. It doesn't matter if you promote them early. None of that matters to keep retention as long as they feel welcomed into the group. And back in the day, dude, we just weren't welcoming. It's just part of it. Like I understand now. We're like, man, fuck that guy. I'm gonna beat his ass. And that's because back then a new guy only came every several months. And jujitsu now, we get a new guy every week. So I have guys who've trained for a month hitting their first submissions. Dude, I didn't get a submission for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like jujitsu is all exploding in popularity, which is awesome. But it's so much easier for new guys to advance because they get to actually try shit so much earlier than when we did.
That is true. That is true. I mean, not only that, but also the amount of information that's available. It's
Oh my
tenfold
God,
to
dude.
what it used to be, right? I mean,
It's a blessing and a curse.
is it? Is that how you view
Dude,
it?
I love YouTube. I love Instagram. I make content, as everyone seems to know now. If you look at everything I post, it's like 5 techniques.
Yeah.
Out of thousands of things I posted, it's like 5 things. Because I grew up in a way of like my professor would teach 1 technique a month, and then I never see him because I was on my own after blue belt.
Yeah.
So I just made that shit work in every application I could. I had to be creative. I had to be a martial artist, not just to beat everyone's ass. Now you can Google the most specific fucking problem and it will show up 30 different ways, which is just overloading. And most people don't even get to that actual problem to begin with to understand it. So
Do you feel like we are softer today
oh
from a
man, we were talking
perspective?
about that last night.
Yeah, well, let's answer that. I have a specific question as a follow-up, but do you think we are softer today?
By far. I'm not
Is
saying
it,
that's entirely a bad thing either.
well, I
That's
was
not,
about to ask. So, is that a good thing or bad thing?
It's both, because I'm very much a believer in balance. You don't need to be the most hard motherfucker in the world, but you don't want to be a pussy. Like, there's a middle ground that's good, and you can lean. That's fine. It's like everything else. The middle really is the way. But when we started, everyone had to be a badass. Now, there's so many gyms. Just in my area, there's 15 gyms within 15-ish miles of me. I passed 2 gyms on the way to my gym, right? They're just all splitting from each other and everyone's doing their own thing. Some want to focus on kid class, some focus on hobbyists. There's even one that focuses on just women. That's cool, man. Whatever. But the overall jiu-jitsu is way softer. There's nobody who trains hard anymore. You have to go to like Atos or something.
So do you think that's softening up the jiu-jitsu itself? Is that are we going into like this regression of what the martial arts should be?
I think that it is regressing, but not because people are softer. It's because people focus on, let me go back a step. They're focusing on the sport side of jiu-jitsu and the fancier techniques without battle testing or actually rolling hard. So yeah, your bamboo is going to work on some guy who doesn't know shit and he's not really trying hard. But you motherfuckers can't defend a punch? Really? Like, I'm not even a self-defense guy. Like, I'm really not. I think self-defense is just a selling thing. But the principles in it, you have to know. Just don't get punched in the mouth. You always have your hands up, then they can't choke you either. Same thing. Same.
Is this where the jiu-jitsu is going these days? Where we can bear and bellow, we can foot like each other, but we're going to get smashed in the face every single time?
Dude, it's so funny. And footlockers will always say, well, I'll break it before you hit me. Probably. Who knows? I'm not going to let you grab my foot before I start punching you in the face, dude. What are you talking about? And I'm not a fighter. Like, dude, it's just the basic things of just base and connection and distribution. That's all you need to do.
Do you also feel like, a couple decades ago when we were starting, jiu-jitsu was much more simplified in the sense of, like, I mean, I remember learning 1 or 2 passes. I knew, triangle choke, cross choke, baseball choke, and, couple sweeps, couple reversals, but that was it. Like the entire library of what I was learning was probably down to 20-25 moves total, period. And I feel like today is like 25 moves per class. The saturation it's enormous.
It is. And you can break down jiu-jitsu into like 7 body mechanics and hip switching and hip extension, hip compression. Like, that's all it really is in the grand scheme of things. Just reordering them with different grips. That's all. It doesn't have to be complex. But when we started, dude, you know what I did every day for like a solid 3 months was just the typical trap and roll and like the hip escape. And that was it. And now, like, that's still all I use. I don't need anything else.
I was about to say, this is literally, I was teaching that earlier this week. Like, these are my escapes. Like, you can ask me 50 more times and I'm going to show you the same thing. It's like, this works. This is all I do.
And the reason people want to say they don't work and drilling doesn't work the way we did is because they don't drill with intent and feel. Like, I drill 1 mile an hour, but I'm known for my speed. Everyone knows I'm fast.
Well, so let's talk about that for a moment, because I think that's the interesting part here about all of this is today I feel like there's few components that work against us. One's the shiny objects. Those are the if you're not flying or you're not upside down, if it's not shiny enough. I feel at least that way. But 2, everybody wants to go 100 miles an hour. Nobody does positional training or strategic training. Like, slow everything down. Understand where the balance is. I would understand the space management. How many inches are between us? Like, why is this so complicated? Why everybody wants to just plow their faces into the floor?
That is the problem right there. People want it to be complicated so they feel smart and special. That's why all these new age fucking brown belt instructors want to use the Danaher terms and the ecological terms of fancy fucking words, when you could just say, yo, bro, grab his fucking neck and stay tight. What? Dude, I'm not a G. I have a college degree in organic chemistry, and I don't talk like a pretentious dumbass.
Does that bother you? All these
Dude,
names, analogies, all that stuff?
analogies and stuff are great, and naming techniques great. Nomenclature is important, but make it so the majority understand it. You don't want your students to be like, "What the fuck is Kazushi?" Dude, push his head and he'll fall over. Like, make it easy. Do I need to be a fucking bully sometimes? Why do you gotta
What
make it hard?
What do you say to students or to the guys who come to you and they'll throw some of the half Japanese names and just asking you for your assistance? What's your response?
Oh, I don't suck my nuts, dude. Talk like we're American, dude. What the fuck are you doing? Come on
Uh,
now,
you're killing me right now. You're killing me.
dude.
So look, I feel like I've been saying this. I've been saying this to my students for a long time,
Mhm.
and some of them don't appreciate it. But I say, Jiu-Jitsu is simple. People make it complicated.
Oh
Would you
yeah,
agree with that?
it's all for sure, dude. For sure, dude. Oh my god, there are people who are fucking black belts that can't do an armbar from guard properly because they've only ever drilled it going through the motions because they just didn't want to do it. So there's no weight dish, there's no hanging on the axe, there's no nothing. They just suck at basic guard. But their De La Riva guard's fucking gnarly. Like, dude, what are you gonna do when you're 50? Because you can't do that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not old. Right? I will still bambola motherfuckers. But my game is so principle based that I can do any technique I want to pretty much whoever I want. Because I just apply those things to the technique. So when I do slow down, I'm ready to go. It doesn't change for me. Gi and no gi, with punches, without. I'm 60. The game won't change.
So if this is so simple
Mm-hmm.
and we're overcomplicating this,
Mm-hmm.
whose responsibility is to
Both.
keep this on track? Is it the student or the instructor?
Both. It's both. For a long time, I've been lucky. I always had students who were hard workers. Like, even my first crop of guys were really hard workers. So it's really easy to say, hey, you should be a blue belt in 6 months if you just do what the fuck you're told. And almost all of them were. And people would say, I'm sandbagging my guys. No, I'm just organized. I teach in a very specific way. I teach one technique a week and one position every 2 weeks, the top and the bottom, and then focus just on major things versus all the nuance. Nuance is for when you're purple and above. Before that, keep things major.
So why is this so hard for everybody else then?
This is boring. Do you want to shrimp up and down the mat? Well, A, I don't believe in that anyway. Do you want to stand up and base 30 times a class? Do you want to do that same repetitive? Nobody does. I didn't want to do it either. I just did it anyway. Nobody wants to do the boring but foundational stuff. Pouring concrete for your house isn't exciting. Framing's not exciting. Decorating is.
But yet, without the framing and the foundation, we can't build a house, right?
Nope, you can't. Or it falls apart.
Or it falls apart, right?
If you half-ass all that shit just to get to the decorating and the painting and the fun stuff, it's just gonna fall apart. You're gonna need new fucking drywall in about 6 years. Like, come on, man.
Let's rewind this a little bit.
Sorry, I talk a lot.
Let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. You've been on the mat since 17.
Yes.
That's a long freaking time.
Yeah, well, yes and no. I'm only 30. Well, I'll be 33 on Monday.
Well, but still, I mean, listen, for somebody who's starting today or last month or even last year, being on the mat for 15 or plus years, that's a long freaking time.
Yeah.
That's a long time. What got you on the mat?
So when I was 17, I started dating my son's mother at the time. And I went to their house and we were hanging out, and her dad was like, hey, do you want to make some money? I'm like, hell yeah, I do. And he was like, let's go lay some stone in the backyard around the swimming pool, because he was making like a little rock wall. I was like, all right, cool. I like to hustle. Let's do it. We were like halfway done, been out there like 3 hours. He's like, hey, you want to grapple? What the fuck? I was like thinking I'm an athlete. Like I wasn't a wrestler or anything, but I was athletic. I was little. I was 125 pounds, but I was explosive, right? I was like, oh, I'm good. This guy's old. He proceeded to put me in a triangle choke. I had my hand in, broke my thumb, and or dislocated it. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? That will never happen again. What did you do to me? So I can now learn that. Like my ego was so big that I knew I had to do it just to beat his ass someday. Like I could not handle losing to an old guy.
So, to paint the full picture, did he train jiu-jitsu, or is this something that he
So
learned on his
yeah,
own, or?
so he's a blue well, he passed away recently. A blue belt under Henzo. He got his blue belt in
Oh,
'95. And then he just
wow.
kind of dabbled here and there. He never trained really hardcore after that. But he trained, he was a karate guy. And so when he saw the first UFC in '93, he was like, oh shit, karate's stupid. And started doing jiu-jitsu. And he would like drive like 3 hours one way to train in Florida
Yeah,
with some guy in his garage.
it was
And
that was a different time. So what
it
what
was,
so you have this experience, you know, he catches you, and then you're determined
oh
to
yeah.
learn jiu-jitsu, and then where do you go? Like, are you going by yourself, or are you looking for this? What's
So
the next step?
he knew all the local guys. Like he knew back in Delaware, like the OG of Delaware is Alex Lipinski. He's like a judo black belt. He was a wrestler. I think he's like 70 now, and dude's still shredded out of his mind. And he taught in like a church, and he knew Alex from living in Jersey, and now he's in Dover. However, that all wants to work. And I started training at Alex's and at another gym called Team Viper at the time, and just doing both. I tried to go as many times as possible. He showed me stuff in the basement, in his basement, because he had like old Henzo Craig Kukluk tapes, and I would just study them. Because I just became like that day on, I was just obsessed, and it's still that way. Like I'm still horribly obsessed.
Walk me through the first day that you step on a mat, because obviously you are very determined,
I
and that.
remember. Oh, so the first class I took was at actually Team Viper, and I remember we learned when they have your back, like the bear hug from behind, you break the grip, get the kimura, and
Yeah.
then butterfly sweep them over, sumigeshi for those fancy fucks, over your head. And that was that. I was like, oh, that seems easy enough. And I proceeded to get my ass kicked for 3 hours. And I was like, boy, this is fucking stupid. I gotta do it again tomorrow. I just gotta do it again tomorrow. I was so mad, dude. I was so mad that I kept just getting demolished.
What are you thinking walking out of that place for after very first class? Like, are you processing all of this in the sense of you just got your ass handed by a bunch of
Oh
other
yeah, I was like,
guys,
dude,
and
what the hell? That skinny nerd just beat my ass. Granted, I was a skinny ginger fuck, so don't. I didn't have muscle then. I didn't get that till like 3 years ago. But oh, it was so frustrating because I was faster, I was explosive, I was an all-American athlete, and it just held my attention because no other sport could do that. It was the only sport that after a year, I still sucked. I still sucked. Like soccer, I was playing varsity in 8th grade on soccer and lacrosse, so
so
I caught on real quick.
how do you compare? You know, you played lacrosse, you play soccer, and then you're doing jiu-jitsu, and
Mhm.
clearly the other two are going your way. You have a great success behind it, and with jiu-jitsu there is, well, let's just say you're getting your ass handed for a while. Like the learning curve is not as fast, right?
Oh man.
How
So
are you processing all of this?
So it did take away jujitsu. But soccer and lacrosse, I would get up at 6 in the morning, practice with the college team because I was just obsessed with winning. And then I would go to my practice for school, and then I would play on a travel team. And so I do 3 days every day. And that's why I got good fast. I just put the hours in. And then I thought, man, I'm going to jiu-jitsu only twice a week. That's not fucking good enough. So then I bought a fucking heavy bag off some dude on Craigslist and started just doing solo drills every day, learning how to move my hips, learning hip movement. Because Dr. Freeze, that was my son's grandfather's name, Dr. Frieza. And so I just did that every day. I would just drill in the basement every day because I had to put the hours in. I was just pretended it was another sport. And then I would go to training on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. at two different gyms because one was Monday, Wednesday, and the other was Tuesday, Thursday. Because back then, most places only had 2 days a week.
Yeah.
So I was trying to do both, and they didn't really like that because you know how jiu-jitsu is.
Mm.
And I didn't really care because I paid both, so what's it matter, you know? And then, yeah, I just couldn't get enough of it.
So
it's been that way since.
So in your mind, is the time on the mat the biggest factor behind the improvement? Like you said, I didn't put enough time. In the
It's
other
about
sports, you're
hours,
just
yes.
grinding. So it's all about hours? Is that what it is?
Hours. It's hours. It's not about years. Any dumbass can train for 15 years. It's about hours and consecutive hours. If you train
Explain
2
that.
days,
Break that down.
people would say, man, Marcelo Garcia is so good back in my day, like when I was young. Well, yeah, dude trains 3 times a day. Over a month, he trains more than you do in a year. Like, what do you expect to happen? And it's not just hours. Like, even if we had the same amount of hours, me and Marcelo Garcia, his compounds because they were right after another. He didn't lose anything. If you train on Monday and Wednesday, you got 4 days where you're not doing shit. And back then, there wasn't much to study. So it was very different then.
Is that how you approach jiu-jitsu today for your students, the guys who come to your place, and is the compound hours? So
yes, sir.
It's not that you come 3 times a week. Is how many hours you're putting in?
Exactly.
What about the guys who are casual? What about the hobbyists?
I try to maximize their time. That's why I focus a lot on body. Like my warm-ups are all body mechanics that apply to a vast majority of techniques. So that way, let me use an example here. An armbar, a triangle, and an omoplata from guard are mechanically all the exact same thing. It's just the relation of this arm, whether it's in, out, or around. That's it. It's the same hip movement, same break the pot, everything's the same. So that's why I teach armbars so much. They're mechanically useful everywhere from the guard. Well, and on top too, but that's why I'm a big armbar guy. I try to maximize time by making things overlap as much as possible.
So there was logic behind all of this.
Oh yeah, there's a method to my madness, I promise.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think everyone, you know, not I shouldn't say every instructor, but most of the instructors trying to make logic out of this because it's so comprehensive at this point. It's so broad that it's difficult for the new students to really comprehend of what the hell am I doing here? Like you know, it's again, I think we overcomplicating a lot of this.
Like I agree and disagree with that sentiment.
Okay.
Jiu-jitsu is not more than it was 10 years ago. It's just we focus on the other parts that are more fun and flashy. There were bambolos and there was X-Guard and there's all that. But the guys who are really good at that were really good at basic things first. Like the Meow brothers, they won so many matches with bambolos, right? But they also won a lot of matches in close guard. Like they had a fantastic foundation to build off of.
Well, I think do you think that's the difference, big difference between the new jiu-jitsu and the old jiu-jitsu? That in the past we really focus on the core and basics, and today we are distracted. We often skip the core and basics, and we're trying to fast forward to the other things, right? I mean, we talked about the beginning of this conversation.
Yeah, the faster you try to learn by being gimmicky, the slower you learn overall.
Yeah,
it's ironic. The faster you try, the slower it goes.
So, but that's almost counterintuitive, isn't it?
You would think at first, but it goes back to a lot of people like the whole ecological and conceptual approach, which I do too, but bear with me, because they get to learn the why, right? The core principles is the why. Why would I do this technique? Well, to knock them off base. Well, why would I do that? So you can get the hand to the mat. Why would I do that? There's space for your triangle. Or if they're punching you, there's space for the triangle.
Yeah.
Like everything should be built off the foundation of, everything should be built on those core beginnings of jiu-jitsu, like the guard, mount, back, side control, half guard. Every position is just a variation of those with a little tweak. Add a lapel here, add a butterfly hook there. That's all they are. It's just adding to the foundation. And if you have no foundation, you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing.
So why is it so hard?
For instructors or for students?
I guess questions for both, since we both responsible for it.
Yeah, fair enough. Instructors like to show how much they know.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know what I taught last night? We had black belt visitor, and my guys we had actually all blue belts last night. One new guy. That was it. I was surprised, actually. I taught the same half guard that I taught the 3 days before that. Because again, I only teach one technique a week. And then I teach you how to use it using base and connection. That was like literally, the traditional half guard, just how to recover closed guard. Or how to sweep with that same type of movement. That was it. For a whole week. I will teach that no matter who walks in the door. I don't have no one to impress. That guy doesn't pay to be here. He's just visiting. But my students do. My job is to trick them into making the boring exciting. So that's why I use a lot of situationals.
How do you do that?
Sense of humor is a big part of it. Just talk shit. Like, dude, how the fuck can you not get out of my half guard? Dude, you're trash. Like, I'm just sitting here. How are you not out? And then I just add little details as we go. It's everyone wants to be the center of attention and be flashy and look at this cool shit. But the basics, you have to build on them before you can be flashy. Even Gordon Ryan, he's not that flashy.
He's not flashy at all.
Dude just
Gordon's
lays on
not
people.
flashy at all.
Yeah. In the beginning, you could argue because of leg locks, but that's just like saying the jiu-jitsu guys dominated karate because they didn't fucking know any better. Like, that's all leg locks were back then. We didn't know any better, so we got our asses handed to us.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for Gordon or anything, but like I just had this conversation with another guest, and like you look at Gordon Ryan instructionals, they are comprehensive, detailed, and they are long and they are huge. But when you look at what he does during matches, it's very simplistic.
It is, because it's very if this then that. He has a game plan. He doesn't deviate. He just stays disciplined.
Yeah. Is discipline a big part of all this?
It really is, because if someone's reaching in the guard, that's why you see it all the time now. These fucking jumping over arm bars. Dude, I've never gotten caught in that dumb shit. And I'm not that good, man. I grapple a lot of athletic good guys who catch me in other ways. But jumping over my guard, that shit's embarrassing. Like, that's because you're reaching. That's just a fundamental thing. Hey, we don't push or reach in the guard. Discipline. It's lack of discipline. You as a guard player should not be reaching or engaging. It's the guy on top's job. He's the one that gets called for stalling, not me.
Yeah. Yeah. Why all of this is not organized? And I mean this like nationally, or why every instructor does their own thing? Why
everyone thinks they know better than their professor.
Say again?
Everyone thinks they know better than their professor.
Why would they think that? Is that the ego?
Kind of the same way 16-year-olds think they know better than their father.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Same kind of concept. And I'm not saying it's wrong, because evolution requires challenging authority. Don't get me wrong. But all I did for myself was take my professor's teaching and make it a little more Americanized, because he's old school Brazilian and he's really good. He's won everything there is to win. He's awesome. Why would I change? Why would I change it? He was very much, I'm the first one in, last one out. I wasn't talented, so I had to work harder than everyone else. Me too. So I just drilled and keep that concept in my teaching going forward, while also trying to make it a little more efficient. Like, I don't do line drills, dude. I don't do shrimping down the mat, cartwheels and all that. If I'm teaching a side control escape, I'll teach you how to hip escape first. Then we'll drill just it solo. Then we'll drill it statically. Then we'll drill it with 10%. Then we'll situational it in different configurations of your frames. And then we'll go 100 miles an hour in side control. And that's how I've always structured my classes since I was a purple belt.
So let me ask you this.
All right.
Why do you think that your way is better than all the other ways?
That's an interesting question, because it's kind of loaded. I just said I don't think anyone's way is the best. I think my way is great because it steals from everyone else's way. I learned a lot from coaching college sports and high school sports and realized most sport, like let's go with lacrosse, you do positional drills. Like there's attackmen, there's midfielders, there's defense.
Hmm.
They all drill their own things separately. And then we scrimmage at the end.
Hmm.
I just took that concept and put it in jiu-jitsu.
And it feels like at least from my perspective, like all sports, all professional sports, they have some kind of system in them, and the systems might vary.
sure.
But you are right. I mean, you play basketball, a point guard is going to have different drills than the defensive player, and the
Yeah, why
same
would
thing
a
in
point guard
hockey.
do the same thing as a center, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And same thing in all the other sports. You look at
Mhm.
baseball, football, hockey, or whatever. Like everybody has their own job, if you will, and you have to
Exactly.
drill that job. So how come this is not done in jiu-jitsu? Like I've been asking myself the same questions. How come just now in the recent years this is like we need to be smarter about our training. We don't have to pound our faces into the wall to get
We
better.
don't need to be Shark Tanking ourselves anymore. It's a different time.
Right.
But that's why I hate on the eco nerds so much. I'm sure you've seen some of that where I just mess with those dudes. They think it's new. It's new to jiu-jitsu guys because jiu-jitsu never wanted to deviate. And I don't know. I don't have a good answer for why. Most people can't teach, and jiu-jitsu it's really fucking weird. You get a black belt, and for some reason you're allowed to teach. What the hell?
Please don't start me on that. That's a separate conversation.
We're gonna get to that one.
We're gonna get to that. Yeah.
We're gonna get to degrees, and I'm gonna piss people off too. It's gonna be great.
I love it.
But a lot of it is most instructors regurgitate information from their professor.
Yeah.
And their professor may have been good, but that weird language barrier was always a problem. And the way, how old school Brazilians would exaggerate movements. So then you would copy that because you can't fucking understand what they're saying. And then you would do the technique and it wouldn't work. It's not because he did it wrong or taught it wrong. There was just a language barrier. It's a long game of telephone,
Yeah.
And the Brazilians teaching the Brazilians, you see them do well. Or now Americans teaching Americans, you see them doing well. It's my generation, like the first American interlineage kind of guys, that have to kind of put that together. And most of them just can't. They cannot decipher. They can't be creative. They can't truly look past what's being said and what's exaggerated and not. You know what I mean?
So I was just talking to somebody else about this, and it's like it feels like learning jiu-jitsu and knowing jiu-jitsu is one thing, but knowing how to teach jiu-jitsu, that's something completely different.
It is. I don't regret how early I started teaching. I started teaching late blue belt, like on my own full time. And that's how I got better. Honestly, I would just teach and then beat up my students. Like that's just how it was. But I learned how to teach through stealing other coaches' ideas and concepts. I would be like, that makes sense. Let's try it, see how it goes. Or I would take what my professor taught and just reword it and then teach it in different languages. Like I would focus on a different concept of the technique. Going back to what I said earlier, 90% of my content's like 3 techniques. I just focus on a different part of it. That's how I never run out of content ideas.
So why do we have this situation where many, the moment they receive their black belt, they feel almost obligated to step into the instructor role?
I wouldn't mind if it was the instructor role in a gym to help out your gym and keep black belts within a gym. It's all these motherfuckers who go open a gym and then poach students or just water it down. And that's what's frustrating. I'm going to take this area for example. If all the black belts that came from one black belt stayed together, that gym would be humongous. It'd be one of the biggest gyms I've ever seen. My professor's gym keeps all his black belts are still there. Yeah, I moved, but I still rep my professor. And that gym is massively successful. It's huge. There's like 50 black belts there, and it's awesome. Everyone can get better because nobody thinks they know so much more or better to split off. Everyone wants to work together. And that's the culture we came up in, and with our professors. Loyalty is very important, and helping each other grow is very important. And you can't help each other if you leave.
So why many don't think that way? Why many think the
People are
moment
just
they
selfish, dude. Americans are selfish. I'm American. I love America. But everyone's trying to make $1. Everyone thinks they can do it better. It's gotta be ego. That's always a part of everything. We're guys. We like to compete with each other. Don't get me wrong.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But
No, we do.
it's gotta be
Well,
an ego thing. I don't have the best answer. I'm sorry. But
no, you find this is just a conversation, right? I'm
yeah,
just trying to kind of get to the bottom of this because this is a growing situation. I don't know if this is an issue, but it's a situation where
I think there'll be a jiu-jitsu boom, kind of like the housing crisis, and it'll all just fall apart. I don't know when that'll happen. It might not ever happen. But gyms open and close every day. So
yeah.
it takes
So
more.
how do we keep students? How do we keep the black belts? How do we create an environment where everybody wants to stay in one place versus thinking grass is greener on the other side?
First, pay your fucking instructors. It's a never-ending cycle. Man, I opened a gym. Shit, this is a lot of work. I'll get one of my purple belts to teach and just trade him tuition. And then the purple belt's like, this is not worth money. I could do this on my own. I'm going to go open a gym and go dick ride another black belt till I get my black belt. Man, this is a lot of work. I'm going to tell one of my purple belts to teach. And the cycle continues. I've seen it time and time again, man. Pay your instructors. Have extracurriculars. Make everyone feel included. My house, like, it's not massive or anything, but I have a house now, which is kind of cool. And dude, we hang out all the time. We live together. I have mats. There's under me is mats right now. I'm sitting on mats. We train together here. Hey, if my students want to just hang out, they have the code to my house. They just go play video games. We all hang out. It's inclusion. I made a post about that the other day. Retention, the giving a belt because somebody's been here 6 years, they're going to quit because they achieved something.
Mm-hmm.
But if I make a white belt feel included, they don't care about their belt. If I make them feel like they want to get better and they're helping me by making me better, because my white belts make me just as good as my brown belts do. I don't have any black belts yet, but everyone has a place. With all the shit I talk, every rank has a very valuable place.
Walk me through that. What place does white belt have?
They're the guys who come in, right? You could say they're the build hairs, but that's negative. I don't really like to use them for that. They're the future of the sport. They're the toddlers. You need to mold them properly. And I only get a lot of these guys for 6 to 8 months, so I got to make sure they have a good foundation. The base I teach on around here is a training base, so they come and go a lot. Now, blue belt is the most important belt in terms of standards and making sure that they're correct, in my opinion. My professor always said you judge a gym by their blue belts. If a gym has really awesome upper belts but terrible blue belts, what are they doing? Why are their blue belts so bad? Why is this a thing? If their blue belts are solid and knowledgeable enough, like, yeah, they're blue belts, they still suck, but they know how to defend themselves. They can survive if they focused on only survival. They can deal with any guy who walks into the room within reason, because now that I have to specify. But blue belt
So
is
what's a purple belt? What's a purple belt?
A purple belt's the teenager. They're the people they're old enough or good enough I can finally have a conversation with. We can roll now. I don't have to cater to anything. I don't have to roll light with you. We can exchange techniques. I trust you not to break my arm if I let you armbar me. Purple belts they're the teenagers. They're starting to get it.
So would that make the brown belt the young adult?
Yes, exactly. They're the 18-year-old. That's what all these brown belts that are opening gyms are. They think they know better than everyone else. They're good, don't get me wrong, but they think they know better than everybody. Sorry, there's a fly in here.
So what is this going to all look like 10 years from now when all of these brown belts and sometimes even purple belts, they go out and open their own places? And ultimately what this is turning into, and this is becoming more and more visible, that we have tons of little places,
Yeah,
but not a lot of big academies.
exactly.
Right?
Let me use an
What?
analogy here that's really is going to paint the picture. I don't know how old you are, but I'm a latchkey kid. I'm a millennial. I grew up just walking in the door. You would argue a lot of 90s kids were neglected. Now you see the issue with kids, my age group having kids, they're helicopter parents. They overcompensate. It's ridiculous. They went full the other way, right?
Mhm.
There was no just fix the problem and still give people freedom. Now, my group coming up as purple belts, it was always a stereotype purple belts skipped warm-ups, right? Always a thing. Those purple belts are the ones teaching now. So nobody's getting those warm-ups of body mechanics and learning how to move themselves. They just jump right into technique. So they never actually learn how to hip switch. They never learn how to really move first. You know how hard it is to teach that X guard stand up and base sweep when some motherfucker can't stand up and base? I
Oh yeah.
shouldn't have to teach a technique within a technique. My
Yeah.
guys know better. Like, I'm like, bro, what the fuck? That's your, like, I make them go home and do it. Like, you should, that's something you could do while watching TV. Learn how to move, hip switch, back step, sit out, knee slice. I shouldn't have to explain within the technique how to move your own body.
Yeah.
That's being skipped because no one does warm-ups anymore. I've been to countless gyms now. I traveled a lot less recently, but I traveled a lot, and no gym does warm-ups. But you know what? When I go to my professor's gym, we do line drills. The black belts do the line drills. Everyone does the line drills. Yeah, sometimes they're not related, and I think that's dumb, but the system works if you can grind through it. And no one wants to do that. Purple belts are the beginning of the end for that generation, man.
Well, so let me ask you again.
Mhm.
Same question. Is what is this all going to look like in 10 years?
10 years, I think there's going to be really good gyms and then Aikido gyms. What I mean by that, concept is great, right? We all love a good conceptual approach. But concept without practical technique is Aikido, all right? Aikido is very conceptually sound. If you listen to some dude talk, it makes perfect sense. But it doesn't fucking work. Why is that? Because no one battle tests anything in Aikido. It was passed down. So one guy, they used to spar, then he's like, oh, we don't need to spar, we don't need to roll hard. And then it just kept going down, and now it's a dance. And there will be dance gym, there will be cardio jiu-jitsu classes in 10 years. Watch. There would be like that's what's gonna be there's gonna be those type of gyms. There's still gonna be great gyms. And they're gonna be the ones that have the old school guys, or the guys who listened to the old school guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see something like that happening. It's
There's
like
cardio kickboxing, there's cardio boxing, boxercise, and
boxercise.
there's nothing wrong with those things if, right? If you know what it is. Hey, I'm just trying to get a fucking workout in. I'm gonna go to jujitsu or cardio, whatever the hell. But
Well,
don't
I
think
guess
you're a fighter
I,
or a
I guess
grappler.
I guess the upside of all of this is that it creates an environment for the individuals who want to do just that, right?
It does. That's not a bad thing. Like I said, I
Yeah.
am getting better about being understanding of others'
Yeah.
goals. That's not entirely a bad thing. The issue really comes to marketing yourself as something you're not. Like I have no
Well,
issues. Oh, sorry.
how is this being presented, right? That's what it boils down to.
Yes,
Like
yes, yes.
if we are here to, you know, do half-ass job and you kind of chill and relax and have a very casual approach to this, then okay,
Mhm.
this is what we are selling, right? But if you want to get really good at jiu-jitsu and you want to work on those specific things, then maybe this is not a place for you. You got to go somewhere else. So
Exactly.
having a very selective, you know, it's just my concern behind something like this is the fact that mismarketing, right? Misrepresentation. You know, like, hey, listen, we're going to teach you jiu-jitsu, but you know, we're going to do half-ass job, and now the people who are engaging in this are not getting what they signed up for, and
Exactly. And it's just like religion. You know, you go to a church and it puts a bad taste in your mouth, you never try it again.
yeah,
That happens a ton. In this
all the
area,
time.
I've seen it a ton. They go to one gym, they're like, yo, that fucking place hurt me, or they sucked, or it wasn't what I was looking for. And then they mosey on into our gym, and we're not like the most hard ass guys. Like we work hard, but we also just talk shit the whole time. So it's like it's
Yeah.
very military-esque, I would say. I'm not military, but I've just been in that community for so long. I kind of understand their camaraderie. It's like that. It's very we work hard, we all struggle together, then we all go get beer.
Yeah.
And
Well, and that's what builds the community, right?
exactly. And I know that community is not for everybody. You can kind of tell when someone walks in the gym. I don't know how you run your gym, but if somebody comes in and they whine or complain a lot, I'm like, bro, this might not be for you. You
Yeah.
need to try these things and think about it. Like I try to help them grow. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an asshole right out the gate, but you can't walk in and just complain and expect to be good in a week. If you want to do that, go somewhere else.
No, wait, what? You cannot get good at jiu-jitsu in a week?
Nope, unfortunately.
Listen. You said that you have an interesting perspective on ranking of black belts. I do want to hear that part.
All right. I love and hate degrees.
Do tell.
So why the fuck is black belt the only one that you get handed a rank for time?
Yeah.
Because if you got a blue belt for time, again, I tell you, suck my nuts. Like, get the fuck out of here with that attendance-based blue belt. Fuck
But
off.
well, many do that, but by putting that aside.
Yes, putting that aside, I believe at black belt, there's two options. You teach or you compete. If you're a hobbyist, there's no reason for you to get degrees. None at all. It sounds harsh. It really does. And it's...
Do you feel that ranking in general is more of a motivational tool versus reward tool?
It should be a combination of motivation, reward, and self-growth. If you're good at jiu-jitsu, but you're still a dickhead, why would you get a blue belt? Like, it's still a martial art. We still should teach those principles of don't be a terrible human being.
Do you feel a lot of this is monetarily driven in a sense of, listen, if I don't promote these guys, they're going to quit?
There's that, of course. And there's the other way around, too. If I have a purple belt come in and he's a world beater, but since he's military and moves a lot, I'll promote him. Cool, dude. You're really good. You're a good human. You're doing everything you can. But a lot of people won't promote somebody unless they know him for 10 years.
Yeah.
So
Why is this so political?
There's a middle ground.
Why is this so political?
I don't know. The best answer I have is people don't want their name tied to somebody that can fuck them over in the future, which I do understand to a degree. I wouldn't have taken a black belt from...
But hold on a second, Randy. Hold on a second. But I mean, end of the day, this is a service. End of the day, this is not any different than us getting a coffee. Like you can't get. Well, hold on. Let me challenge this, right? So it's like you go get coffee. Coffee doesn't taste good. You can't be pissed off. Like, I mean, it is what it is. You got served, right? I mean, isn't that what
you spend $10 on a coffee and it tastes like shit? I am gonna be pissed off. All right, I agree with the sentiment, but come on now. If you spend money on a service, a premium service, because again, I don't buy things just to buy things. Like if I went to Starbucks, I expect to be disappointed.
But listen, there's a difference between paying money for service you didn't get, or paying money and expecting more than you paid for.
The same thing, but opposite things.
Okay.
The concept and the core is the same. You're not getting what's actually... sorry. I thought about this before, and now my words are all messed up.
Okay.
It's the same thing, just the opposite, right? My students pay the gym, all right? The gym pays me, okay? I do my best regardless of how much they pay. I don't care how much they pay. I don't care how much I get paid. I do the same job because this is my passion, right?
Yes.
Now, I understand not everybody's that way, but in the end, a martial art isn't just a service between you and you paying to learn a martial art.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost a public servant. You know, I'm supposed to be held to a higher standard. I'm supposed to make sure I'm good to my wife. I'm good to my children. I'm supposed to be an example. And that's where, going back to the black belt thing, a white belt walks in, no matter what martial art, and they see a black belt, that whether me and you, because we're in the community, whether it means something or not is irrelevant. How other people coming into it perceive it is very important.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a difference between me and some guy who's never competed, cross-trained, and just sat in the same gym for 18 years getting a black belt. There's a difference.
Of course.
One is a leader of their gym, and one did the bare minimum. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's really nothing wrong with the 18-year black belt. I commend his dedication. But they are different things. A leader of a gym and a guy who just likes to do this for fun are different things. Why would he get degrees? Degrees are for competitors and teachers, in my mind, not the guy who just does this for fun.
Yeah, and I think you bring up something really, really important, and that this is more, which I really truly love. Like this transactional exchange might work for some, but we are trying to build something stronger than that. It's a community. It's going above and beyond and being a true martial artist, and that's how I view at least the black belts that I interact with, or the one that I would like to be, or I want to be, right? And I had Robert Drysdale on the show some time ago, and he brought up an interesting idea where there should be a different ranking system for competitors and hobbyists, a clear recognition of, look, like you are a black belt hobbyist, great. This is your ranking here, but let's not fool ourselves that a black belt, look, a black belt today hobbyist their skill sets are very different than a black belt world champion who just won, worlds.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're both black belts, and right now, as it stands, they are equal.
Exactly. Yet, I know damn well I'm not going to be a world champion. It was never really a goal. I've competed at black belt. I've won matches at black belt. My goal was to kind of be the trifecta to a degree, compete, do this because I love it, and teach. So it's kind of like all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you can't be the best at any of them.
No, you can't.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with just being better than 90% of people at all three things.
Yeah.
That's how I am with my lifting. You think I care about being the strongest dude in the world? No, but I can bench more than 99% of 168-pound black belts. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
It's just being well-rounded. But back to the whole degree thing, I get the reason for time-based degrees. Like, I understand it to a degree. That's annoying. But sorry, I messed myself up there. But again, when you see like Master De La Riva with his belt, you know that guy's put his time in, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Should a hobbyist be treated like Master De La Riva just because he was a black belt for 31 years?
So what are you suggesting? If this was up to you, if you were to solve this problem today, what would you do?
When it comes to sport jiu-jitsu in no-gi, I wouldn't have ranks. I would have everything be based off years of experience or what you've already won. Kind of like Sambo. Win something local, cool, you get to compete regionally. You win something regional, cool, you get to compete at the next level. That's what I would do for like no-gi, because honestly, it's kind of what it is already. No one gives a shit about no-gi belts.
Oh yeah, no, you have purple belts tapping brown belts out, and like
dude, you have purple belts tapping me out. These little fuckers are good at no-gi. When I take the gi off, I'm like special ed.
Oh yeah,
I like to grab things.
Some of those teenagers scare me. I mean,
oh my god, dude! One of my teens will whoop my ass in no-gi. He's a blue belt because he wrestles full time and does jiu-jitsu full time with me. So
no-gi is easier. What would you do for gi?
For gi, I wouldn't change the belts or anything. I would leave it all the same. But you shouldn't be allowed, like IBJJF kind of does it with you have to win certain turns. I don't know exactly how it works, but you have to win to do worlds, I think. You got to have enough points for black belt. But any dumbass that's 31 or over can sign up and say they're a world champion if they win, which is cool, but they're different things. They're very different things. Like
So
one
how would you
guy,
so how would you separate that then?
I would treat the master, I would actually condense masters like 30 to 40 versus the two different ones. But masters, you should have to qualify for just as much as adults do. You should have to
Yeah.
qualify for anything with the word world in it. You shouldn't be able to just walk in just because you paid $200. Especially the guys who compete a lot but have no one in their division.
Yeah.
What's that? The ELO system in chess? We should have that in jiu-jitsu.
Do you think that's ever going to happen?
No, egos are too big. And tournaments like to have 1,000 medals so people keep paying. I get it. I
Well,
understand. I understand the business.
that's part of the business, right? That's why they have so many divisions, because they can give all the medals away, right? And
Yeah.
do you
I
think
understand?
do you think any of this is really trending professionally? I mean,
Not
like,
at all. We're an amateur sport.
is it ever going to be professional? I mean, you see, like, who's number one and all the
yeah.
like. There are organizations they are pushing in that direction. I don't think
So-
IBJJF is, but some of the other ones.
When you think of professional sports, do those motherfuckers try to sell DVDs on Instagram? No, they do not. They get paid to do their sport because they're good at it and people want to watch them. It's going to be a very long time before jiu-jitsu's at that level. Hey, it might explode. It'll be no gi. It won't be gi. I love gi. I think it's the greatest sport in the world because it's just more detailed and more fun. I think it's more fun. But no gi will be the sport. Gi will be the martial art, in my opinion. And no gi will be the only way the sport ever becomes professional. But even Gordon Ryan, yeah, he's professional, but he makes his money on DVDs.
Yeah.
The best guy in our sport still doesn't get paid by our sport.
What is it going to take for this to get to the level that UFC
A
is?
true
Let's just say.
organization, like not IBJJF, but a true organizing body that holds regional, local, all those type of things. That one, people respect. I don't mind the IBJJF, but a lot of people can't stand it.
Do you think the
and-
UFC is that organization?
It might be because it's already well known, it's already well established.
Mhm.
That could definitely do it. I think they're doing something with grappling. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to anything outside my bubble anymore. But
Well-
sorry.
No, I was about to say, but yet, I mean, all of this is still unfolding, and I mean, if
Yeah,
it
it's
was to
still a
unfold
baby
in
sport.
such way, it's impacting all of us, isn't it? Is this a
Mhm.
good thing or a bad thing?
Exposure is
let me
always
ask-
a good thing.
Well, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Like, before you answer this fully, the ultimate exposure, many see, the ultimate exposure to jiu-jitsu would be Olympics. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, that is an international stage.
Yeah, it is. It would be nice because it would force jiu-jitsu to have a true organizing body.
Yeah.
The
But then many,
Olympics kinda deballed judo,
think,
though.
but then many think that one organized body. Now you're talking about politics and a lot of regulations and rules, and then we're getting away from this, peace, life is good, let's roll mentality, which jiu-jitsu is, very much so strong part of.
And that's also why jiu-jitsu is a shitty sport. Because they don't work hard.
Yeah.
Go to a wrestling room. An Olympic wrestling gold medalist.
Well, wrestling is very different than jiu-jitsu.
But the thing is, wrestling's no differently run than lacrosse or soccer. They drill, they lift, they work hard. It's just they're more badass than lacrosse players. I'll be honest there. But we do conceptually, it's not any different. They just treat it as a sport. Wrestling is I will take a wrestler in a self-defense situation over any guy who claims he trained self-defense and got his blue belt from a CTC. I will take a wrestler any day.
That's
I'm
because
like,
of
that
the
guy
work
can
ethic.
defend himself. The work ethic, the ability to distance manage way better. Like they're way better. And Generally speaking, I don't believe in self-defense. I believe in self-offense. If someone's in my face, I'm not going to wait for you. I'm going to blast double you and break your face. That's how Henzo was. Why would I wait for you to attack me when I know it's imminent?
But then, Randy, on the flip side, if we
Mhm.
do it that way, then nobody's going to train jiu-jitsu. Isn't that true?
No, because there's always going to be gyms for everybody. There's so many gyms, and that's why you should shop. I tell all my students, go look around. There's 15 other gyms. Come back if you want.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I hope you pick me, and I'll do my best, but I'm not for I know I'm not for everybody. I have zero filter. I'm not very nice half of the time. Like,
You said you got nicer. You said you got nicer. You.
I am nicer. Man, you talk to my like Chase and Gabby, they are so salty at how nice I am to my students now compared to them. Like I just beat their ass every day for years and then just talk shit. And now I try to be a little nicer because I've learned, be kind. You don't need to be nice, but you do need to be kind.
Is that the theme for you? Be kind?
Oh, in the end, yeah, I really do try to help everybody in my gym. I go, like I said, we go out to dinner, we all talk, we hang out. I try not to be that weirdo that gives like unsolicited life advice, but I've been through a lot of shit. And if they come to me saying, "Hey, my girlfriend broke up with me," hey, that's not so bad. Mine fucking died. So I make it funny, and then we just hang out, and life is good.
Is life good for you?
Dude, I don't think it could get better. It could get worse and then back to better, don't get me wrong, but I'm in a great place. I get to train full time. I have a family. I get to, people, this is the coolest thing because no one liked me in my home state. But now with the internet, like you and all these other people want to talk to me online and just hang out. Like I'm cool online. In real life, at home, ooh, no one liked me. I was not a very nice colored belt.
No.
I was an asshole, man. I just wanted to win everything.
Do you think that boils down from the fact how we grew up on the jiu-jitsu mats in a sense that
It does.
it was a hard training room?
When I would cross train back home, I treated everything as a Abu Dhabi World Trials, whatever the fuck it's called nowadays. It's like I gotta win, I gotta get better. Yeah. And 99% of people don't want to train that way.
Yeah. No, I remember those times. I can relate to that. I remember white and blue belt, and there was a slaughterhouse every single time. If you didn't like it, you can leave. I mean, see ya.
Yeah.
I mean, different times today. Certainly
it
different
is.
times.
And like I said, I try to be understanding. I visit tons of gyms, and none of them are that bad. I've never been to a gym where I'm like, bro, how is this place open? Like, I've never been that bad. But you can tell the vibe the moment you roll with certain people. If you roll with the instructor and just slaughter them because they just want to lay there, then you kind of know the vibe really quickly. And then when I roll with everyone else, I'm a lot nicer. I just, I try to read a room a lot better now than when I was a blue, purple. Hell, even when I was a new black belt, I wasn't very nice.
So this is a recent change for you.
Moving to Mississippi was the best thing that ever happened to me. I got to reinvent myself, even though I actually didn't. I just stopped caring what anyone fucking thought. I just, whatever. You don't like me, suck my balls. I don't care. Just walk down to the gym. I can go to any gym I want.
Was that difficult? Not caring or letting go of that attachment, that ego attachment?
It took so long for me because I always felt I had to perform. I always felt I had, because I was little. And I was always one of the smallest in the room for a long time. And I hated losing because someone was bigger than me. I never thought that was an excuse. And so I would just make sure I got on top as quick as possible and just won. I would make sure I won every round. And now I realize that just makes me look like a dick. But it did have its benefits. I never get injured because I'm always on top. Like I get on top as quick as possible. It's great for your longevity to be an asshole, honestly.
Not how you make friends, though.
It is not how you make friends. Now, now I found ways to like get on top, stay on top without being an asshole. It took a while, man. It took me a long time to train nicer and just
and
not. And then my jujitsu just exploded, dude. Like from moving here to now, my jujitsu, I would argue, is the best it's ever been, and like that's the most I've ever grown. Because I actually,
isn't that interesting how we try really hard and the progress is slow, but the moment we let go and
hmm
kind of let it unfold by itself organically, then it just
yeah,
explodes.
I was teaching that last night. Like I said, we were going over half guard, and when we would do situationals, one of my guys is just a yoked out of his mind dude, and he would just squeeze people on top half guard, and no one could get out. And I said, if he's just squeezing you, just fucking lay there like a dead fish and do nothing, because then he'll think he can move. And then the moment he moves, go, because he created space for you. Why are you wasting your fucking time on this
Yeah,
dumbass? And that's
yeah.
exactly how I talk in class. And I'm like, Josh, like I love Josh. Josh is awesome. I'm like, dude, come on, Josh, get over here, Josh. And then I get out like 9 times. And he's just pissed off because I just made him look dumb. See, if they squeeze you, make them look fucking stupid. They're connected to you now. Cool. They
Yeah.
did the work for me. Fuck you.
But all that takes a lot of experience, a lot of meta time,
It
a lot of
does.
trying.
And that's where I had to
Yeah.
start being understanding as I get older. Like when I was first starting to promote people to blue, I was like a brand new black belt, right? Like I refused to promote anybody until I was a black belt, even though I had guys who've been training with me for 4 years. And I thought to be a blue belt, you need to be able to hang with me. Now I just know that's not feasible. That's not fair.
Yeah. This jiu-jitsu thing is complicated.
There's a lot of facets to it. There's so
Yeah.
many parts. I like to say it's the easiest part of my day, but that's because I suffered a lot.
Yeah. Well, you've came a long way, and it seems like the life is on a good track. You said it yourself that you're the best that you've been up to this point. So
Yeah,
that's something to celebrate, right? I mean, that life is good.
life is so good. Like mentally happy, physically, like I am 40 pounds heavier. I'm stronger. I like everything in life right now. There's nothing to complain about.
Good for you. Good for you. I wish more people saw it that way. I wish more people had this
hmm
open-minded approach to life. I think there's a lot of people who hate their lives, they hate their jobs, and they see the negative versus the positive, and there's so much
Exactly.
positive in life.
There's so much positive. I agree completely. And it's like I can see how it's easy to get sucked into negativity because I did too. I was like, again, I wasn't always happy. But I learned a very valuable lesson in a harsh way. When my first wife passed away, I learned that no one fucking cares about you. And that sounds harsh and mean, but it's freeing. It's so
Mm.
freeing because no one cares, right? For example, they'll see me on Facebook or whatever for 2 seconds and then I'm gone in their mind.
Mhm.
Whether I win or lose, they forget tomorrow. It doesn't
Mhm.
fucking matter. So you might as well do what's exciting to you.
Yeah. There
And
was
there's
a
no, sorry.
there was an interview that I was listening on a very similar topic is how forgetful we are, or
hmm
how easy it is to forget us. And I don't remember details of this, but I remember what stuck in my mind. The phrase was, if you die today, your job would post your job or your opening, your seat, your chair, literally
Yeah,
by end of the week, and
exactly.
they would move on.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. And some people would say I moved on very quickly, like I got remade within a year. But it wasn't because I moved on. It's because I don't believe there's such thing as bad experience. Yeah, things can suck, don't get me wrong. But that's all learning. It's all learning experience. You can learn from literally anything. And I learned that day because the next day she died. Next day I went to jujitsu because that's the constant in my life. I didn't take any time off. And I used that time to really think about what I wanted in life. I still wanted a wife, I wanted more kids, and I wanted a family because that's not what I had growing up. And I love being a dad, and I want another kid. I want to do jiu-jitsu full time, so that's what I'm going to do. So the last 4 years, that's all I worked towards, and now I have it, and I still grind. I don't know why I even work hard anymore. I just like it, I guess. I don't have a reason to lift weights. I don't have a reason to compete. I don't have a reason to do anything anymore. I have everything I ever wanted. I just enjoy that process. So I just keep doing it.
Good for you. No, I really admire everything that you're saying. There's so many miserable people out there.
Oh my God.
Sometimes it's very sad to even watch it, and a
Dude.
lot of us starts with just our attitude. Attitude is a choice.
Mhm.
How we look at life is a choice. What decisions we make is all choices.
It is.
Like
I tell my
one
guys
thing
all
we
the
can
time.
control is us.
That right there, that statement. I tell all my guys in a jiu-jitsu context, if you can't control your own movements, you can't control anyone else. The
Yep.
fuck you gonna do if you can't hip switch? You
Yep.
can't even control yourself, and you think you can control that guy?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%.
Like 90% of jiu-jitsu at this level is mental.
Yeah.
Me and you probably know about the same amount of crap. We don't care anymore. It's all about staying chill and not caring what the other person does, thinks, feels. Just doing your own thing.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Couldn't agree more. Randy, we've been at this for an hour and 20 minutes.
Time flies, man.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
Listen, I really appreciate you being here. This conversation
you.
took
It was
some
fun.
turns and really getting to know you. It not only was fun, but very, very eye-opening. And it's your positive outlook on life is just mind-blowing. And I said this a few times, but there's way too many negativity in today's life.
Oh,
And we just need to smile a little bit more. We need to hug it out a little bit more, and we just need to simply appreciate what we have. It's not
Because
that hard.
with that statement right there, I talk shit on the internet and get mad on the internet because it's funny to get people's reaction. I'm never actually mad. But negativity will always just bring you down and the people around you. And it's
Oh,
just a waste of
absolutely.
time. It's just
It's
a waste of time.
And energy.
Oh
Like
my God.
I know when I hang out with like negative people or a negative person, it just like it just ruins my day. Like I don't want to
It-
be here. Like why would I? It's silly.
Exactly. I
It's
tell one
silly.
of my oldest, I'm like, bro, crying isn't going to solve the fucking problem. What are you doing?
No. Yeah. Well, my dad always told me you have 5 seconds to complain, bitch, and whine and cry as much as you want, and after that, get over it and fix it.
Your dad's nicer. My dad just smacked me. Like, shut the fuck up. I was like, oh man.
You know.
But
Uh,
I use that similar concept with trauma, and maybe this is not understanding. Maybe I'm an asshole for this, but I give you 5 years. Dude, if you didn't fix your life in 5 years from something bad happening, because trauma can't be, it's relative. Everyone processes differently.
definitely, yeah.
Whether it's military, whether it's a police, whether it's death, it's all the same in the mind when it comes to triggers. It's all the same. That's what that's everything I read. The mind doesn't, it's kind of like muscle. It doesn't care how heavy the weight is, it's the tension, you know? And if you can't process it and you use it as an excuse for more than 5 years, you just wanted a way out. You just wanted something to bitch about.
Yeah. Well, and many do.
They
Many,
do.
Many
That's
do.
why I had to leave all like the widow groups, because I was just trying not to laugh at them. I'm like, bro, like, yeah, it's sad. It sucks. I've been there. Trust me. But do you really think they're looking down on you saying, man, I hope that guy's a miserable piece of shit because I'm gone? No. I pretend my life's the fucking Truman Show and I'm trying to entertain her. That's kind of what
Yeah.
I've always just thought about. Entertain the people who've left.
Yeah.
And now I get to entertain the internet. This is great.
There you go. Now
This is fucking
you're in
great.
the center of the.
Yeah, this is hilarious. There's my vanity showing, man.
There you go. There you go. All right, Randy. Before we start wrapping this up, if anybody wants to connect with you, and if God forbid that they've been living under a rock, they don't know who you are or where to find you, where are you? Where are this cool stuff on the internet is happening? Talk a little bit more about
99% of
that.
it's on Instagram. I
Yeah.
post the same thing on Instagram and YouTube. Same thing. I just interact a lot more on Instagram because people can DM me and I can talk shit.
Yeah, it's much easier.
Definitely.
I'll make sure that, as always, I'll post all the links in the show notes of this episode. So if you guys want to connect with Randy, feel free to do it. Great content, entertaining, and what a great leadership. I mean, that's really the big takeaway for me today. So, Randy, I
Thank you.
appreciate you being here. Thanks
No,
for
it was a
sharing your
blast.
story.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
sharing
you.
your. Yeah, absolutely. It was great talking to you, and I'll be, as always, I'll be sitting back and watching the beautiful world of Randy, as it said, continues unfolding. All right, so let's wrap this up for today.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.